Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. Um, I came across a couple of news clippings that I find very disturbing when it comes to what's going on in Maui and Lahaina. Um, but before I continue, I just want to thank all my new subscribers on YouTube and on Rumble. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and also pass the channel around. And also, if you can help the channel, uh, if you want to donate, in the description, I'll leave my Cash App and my PayPal information. With that being said, it seems like some more information is coming out that on the day before and the day of, that help was granted in Lahaina, in Maui, and it was rejected for some odd reason. Before the fires really went out of control. Why it was rejected is anybody's guess. But I'm going to play this clip, put my thoughts on it. The next clip that I'm going to show you is something that I've been talking about. And I knew that at some point the information would come out. So before we get to that clip, we'll get to this clip first. Let's go.
And we start with new information on Maui County's August fire response. Tonight, H&N investigates opportunities for assistance that were either rejected or not taken. Our Allison Blair has the story.
After months of investigating tips from the community, we found multiple instances where people calling the shots in Maui rebuke suggestions along with offers of help from outside agencies. A strategy some experts say goes against more traditional emergency management principles.
This is live right across the street from my house. Freaking power line just went down.
As Hurricane Dora churned south of the state late August 7th and into the 8th, fierce winds wreaked havoc on Maui's power grid. Video shows a fire spark up country. Flames threatened homes and prompted evacuations. Meanwhile, another fire erupted after power lines fell into dry grass just after sunup along the island's leeward coast in Lahaina.
See them right there, that's the power line that started.
With air support grounded due to red flag conditions, Maui's firefighters were stretched thin as they fought desperately to gain the upper hand on multiple wind-whipped blazes across the island. At the same time, there was a separate firefight happening on Hawaii Island that forced officials to order evacuations along the Kohala coast. Through open records requests, H&N Investigates confirmed the wildfire prompted Hawaii County's civil defense to ask the state for help the morning of August 8th. According to a Hawaii...
So there you go. You know, I said it was just a matter of time before more and more truth was going to be coming out. And a lot more truth is coming out. Let's continue.
Emergency Management Agency spokesperson Major General Kenneth Hara alerted officials heading up Maui's Emergency Management Agency about the Big Island's request and asked if Maui needed assistance. At 9:30 that fateful morning, the state says Maui indicated the county had sufficient resources to meet its needs at that time.
Generally speaking, if there are indications of an event that is potentially escalating or where you have not yet developed good situational awareness of what's happening, it's generally prudent to act on the basis of a bad or worst case scenario.
There you go, and I agree. Now, them thinking that it wasn't going to get out of control is one thing, but them also not putting into effect saying, you know what, just in case, this is what we're probably going to need on standby. Or even, you know, send in whoever you have. Worst case scenario, you know, we're basically just paying to have bodies just, you know, standing around. But it's better to have that than to have the chaos that happen. Now, the next question that people should be asking is, who was the one, or who were the ones that had the power to deny the request, but also didn't have the foresight or didn't care to have the foresight to come out and say, you know what, let me make sure that we're going to have adequate help at some point, just in case we need it. But let's continue.
Eric Stern has studied emergency management 30 years and is the editor-in-chief of the Oxford Encyclopedia of Crisis Analysis. He's also a professor at the University of Albany's College of Emergency Preparedness. Stern says it's usually a good rule of thumb to accept those offers of help when responding to dynamic or rapidly evolving emergencies.
Exactly.
That can cost some extra money, and sometimes questions are asked afterwards why you overreacted. But if you really stop to think about it, there's a lot of uncertainty in these events, and it's much worse to not do those things.
The state also confirmed an assistant telecom officer working with Hawaii's Emergency Management Agency reminded his counterpart at the Maui Emergency Management Agency that sirens could be used to alert residents of wildfires. The state...
There you go. You see, so it's coming out again. That Andaya keeps saying that the reason why he didn't sound off the sirens was because that he didn't want they were only made for tsunamis, in case there was a tsunami coming. Totally contradicted himself on that. Totally just didn't bother to warn the people, you know. And I find it very hard to believe that, especially after the fire that that Maui suffered in 2018, you would think that they say, you know what, the conditions are a little worse than back then because of the high winds. We've already got a couple of fires going on right now as we speak. Let us get some more help and have them on standby. But there's, like I've been saying, the powers that be, they wanted this to happen. Okay? I truly believe that this was the opportunity that they needed in order to basically just get rid of as many natives as they could from that part of Hawaii, from that part of Maui, because of the property. They want the property. But let's continue.
He says this happened prior to the catastrophic blaze that swept through Lahaina town. Despite that discussion, sirens remained silent.
There
Do
you
you
go.
regret not sounding the sirens?
I do not.
One day after making that statement, MEMA Administrator Herman Andaya resigned, citing health reasons.
Yeah, right.
Then,
More like
on
guilt.
August 9th, the morning after the disaster, Hawaii Healthcare Emergency Management offered to deploy its medical emergency response team. MERT is designed to assist with healthcare needs in Hawaii during disasters and can be deployed anywhere in the state in under 6 hours. The head of the Healthcare Association of Hawaii said in a statement, "We did not receive a positive response to our initial offers of support."
We asked the Bison administration why decisions were made to turn down help from outside agencies prior to knowing the scope of the disaster. We also asked what other offers of assistance the county declined between August 8th and August 10th. Nearly a week later, we are still waiting for a response. Allison.
Look at that. That's disgusting. You know, now these are new questions that need to be asked. Who was in charge that could have made that call? That could have accepted or denied help? You know, I've been saying for the longest, and a lot of people have been thinking about it, that this was a coordinated effort to take that land by hook or by crook. Okay? I also said in a couple of my other last videos how hard it's going to be for the average person there to rebuild, because it's all going to come down to money. Now, it's funny how all the people that have lost so much are going to lose so much more if they don't get help And I'm talking like a massive amount of financial help. And the reason why I say that is because the next clip I'm going to show you, I talked about it over a month ago, that they're going to make it hard for people to collect insurance money, to have enough of insurance money, to have enough of anything in order to rebuild. And I've just been waiting and waiting for that information to come out. Now, this video clip came out 4 days ago. The next clip I'm going to show you came out yesterday. And it proves what I was saying, that the end game is not to help the people rebuild. It's to push them more off the land so that they can have their 15-minute smart city. Here we go.
New tonight, more Lahaina property owners are learning they don't have enough insurance coverage to rebuild. Our Daryl Huff found out the problem is so widespread, even a state senator who helped write Hawaii's insurance laws may come up short.
People who own condominiums in Lahaina have the most complicated insurance situation. They've got one policy on the contents of their apartment and another held by the association on the whole building. And some of those associations do not have enough coverage.
One of those was a 189-unit condo called Aina Nalu. From the air, you can see its building's double X layout silhouetted in ash. The complex of 2-bedroom units was a cozy, comfortable community for retired Senator Ross Baker.
We have people over, we have potlucks and all sorts of things. It was a nice place to live. I was really heartbroken when it burned down.
For years, Baker chaired the powerful Senate Consumer Protection Committee, which handled condo and insurance laws, which require condos to carry enough insurance to rebuild. But at the time of the fire, her buildings did not have enough.
Many of us, too many of us probably, relied on the board of directors and the Hawaiiana management to help make sure that we had appropriate insurance. But nobody expected a fire either. So, you know, it's a sad lesson that we learned.
We were in discussions with our insurance agent to improve our insurance coverages. Unfortunately, our timing was really bad.
Jim Blahai is the president of the Aina Nalu Owners Association. His 2 rental units provided his retirement income. The association is looking...
Okay, I'm going to cut it real quick. In a few of my earlier videos, I talked about how they were going to make it hard. It was going to be a process on how they were going to try to push more and more people out. Okay, now if these people owned all these expensive properties and the homeowners association, the HOA and all that, nobody has enough money. And I find that hard to believe, okay? Because if anybody knows, HOAs are probably some of the most corrupt entities when it comes to charging people. I mean, everything to them is a damn fine or a tax. So they collect a ton of money. Okay, you hear about HOAs all the time being investigated or being busted for some kind of money situation, whether it's fraud or laundering or high taxes, high rates, or fines, stiff penalties, and all that. I mean, it's just, I think HOAs need to be abolished, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. But anyway, so if these people are not able to afford that, how are the regular people down in Lahaina that own their private houses and small businesses, how are they going to cope? How are they going to rebuild? How much insurance, how much is their insurance policy going to cover, if any? Okay. You know, this seems more and more coordinated, as if somebody, it just seems as if, it almost seems too surreal. And what really gets me is that, you know what, okay, if these people don't have enough in their insurance, where are all the millions of dollars that are supposedly being collected to help these people rebuild? Because, I mean, you would have to go to the ones that don't have insurance or adequate insurance to say, okay, you know what, but we do have donated money. and we can, we'll cover that because it was rightfully sent for you guys to rebuild. Where's Oprah now? Where's The Rock now? Where are all the celebrities now? I knew that this was going to happen, and it's going to get worse because they're going to make it hard to collect any kind of money so they can rebuild. Okay? They're going to try to take over property of owners that are no longer here and didn't sign off their property to anybody, so the state's going to grab that. If they can't get, if there's no documentation that the property was signed over to family members or anything, or whatever the case is, the state's going to take that. I mean, that's just a given. They're not going to auction it off. They're not going to give it to the next door neighbor that survived. So now they'll take all that property, and then instead of helping the ones that don't have insurance or don't have enough insurance, that we'll have to see how that plays out. But if I had to guess, they're not going to help them. Which means what? Which means that they'll lose their property. So the powers that be, what do they got? They got all of Lahaina now. But let's continue.
For millions more needed to rebuild.
We have filed a lawsuit against the state of Hawaii, Maui County, and Hawaiian Electric. Plus, I don't even know who else, to be honest.
It's a long list.
It's a long list, trying to recapture enough funds to fill the gap.
Blaha's next challenge will be getting the owners to agree on a plan.
Everyone is scared. And when you're scared, people get irrational.
Underinsurance is a problem for single-family homeowners, renters, and businesses as well across Lahaina. Senator Angus McKelvey, who lost his rental apartment, talked to a national expert.
Looked at Lahaina, West Maui, and they said this is one of the most severely underinsured areas I think they've ever seen.
It's a disaster for people who are covered. It's a catastrophe for people who are not.
At this resource fair...
And that doesn't surprise me, that they're underinsured. It doesn't surprise me. And if I had to guess, that was a coordinated effort with insurance companies and the state and county officials behind closed doors. If you know that land is worth, God knows how much, okay, to the rich and the elite, why would you underinsure the property that's owned by the natives? Because you don't want them to have to rebuild in case of a catastrophe. That's why. You're just waiting for the day for all of it to just be, sorry for using the expression, for all of it to just be, taken out. And then raise up the property value on the land. And then say, well, insurance won't cover that. Or if you don't have insurance, you got to try to get the money to keep paying for the land. This is some real big time bullshit, man. And I truly hope that people are truly paying attention and trying their best to push this out, to get help to the people of Lahaina, to really get in there and start asking questions, because time is of the essence for a lot of these people. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of them say, to have to wait another 18 months before anything is done. With the price, Hawaii is probably the highest tax state in the United States. People are leaving and opening up shop in like Arizona and certain places like Vegas and all that because they can't afford it. And they're born and raised there. But who's coming in buying all this property? The rich and shameless. And they're not donating any of their land. Oh no, they can't do that. They're just waiting for the big payday. But let's continue.
For the Filipino community, it was clear that many working-class residents were completely uninsured.
We never really know about it. It's just not part of our customs to have renters insurance.
I feel so many of them, they've expressed to me just their fear of where do we go from here Is it better for me to cash out and go somewhere else?
Maui's Congress member, Jill Takuda, says people should seek help to negotiate insurance settlements and find federal disaster assistance that could bridge the gap.
If we do not make sure people understand all the options to them, programs available to them, see a path forward for themselves, we're going to see a significant outmigration of Lahaina residents.
I'm still an optimist, and I believe that those of us that want to be part of the rebuild, there must be a way that we can do that.
There are a number of things that condo owners and homeowners have in common here in Lahaina, and one of the biggest is uncertainty.
Yeah, of course. And it's going to be like that for a very long time. You know, I'm not understanding how, you know, Hawaii has suffered all kinds of fires. Hawaii has active volcanoes, okay? Why any insurance company would be allowed to go there and insure people's property, but with a stipulation saying, but it doesn't cover this. One of the first things that it should be on that insurance policy should be fire damage. To me, that would be the first thing. You know, not floods. It should be fire damage. And the second thing should be any damages due to hurricanes, tropical storms. I mean, those three things right there should be right on the list. A, B, and C. 1, 2, 3. I'm not understanding how, you know, that's something that people don't have the option to get in order, you know, to cover their property, you know, for whatever damages happens. I mean, in Florida, okay, I mean, it's not mandatory, but in a way they make people want to get it, which is just regular home renters insurance. And that's to protect what's ever inside your apartment. In case of a bad storm, in case of a flood, in case of a water leak, because that happens a lot. Especially when I worked and lived in Orlando years ago. I mean, I worked in a complex that had 401 units. Okay? And I mean, at least 90% of everybody that was living there had home renters insurance. I mean, there was leaks in these units all the time. People would get, I mean, while I was there working, I mean, I couldn't even tell you the damages to water damage from one apartment to the next. I wind up moving out. I was like, I'm not going to wait, you know, for that to happen to me. But I wasn't going to pay for the home renters insurance either, because I was paying rent to an owner who was paying fees to the HOA. So my thought was that the HOA should cover all that, but they didn't want to. So why in Hawaii that they talk about that they've had fires before and all that, how these insurance companies don't insure these people that have lost so much and everything? Why won't they cover them? And if you ask me, that's something for the governor and the mayor to speak up about, but something tells me that they're not. So that means, like I said, and I've been saying this for the longest, and I knew this was going to come. I was just waiting for the day for it to come out, that their plan is to take over that land under the guise of it being done legally. So you have the people that can't speak up because they are no longer here. Most likely they don't have anybody written down as if anything happened to them, they take over the property. I'm hoping that that's not the case, that they do have heirs, you know, family members and even a close friend or whatever, that they can say, here, if anything happens to me, I'm signing all this over to you. Hopefully all that information, if there's a lot of it, it wasn't destroyed by the fire in certain buildings. But if that's not the case, the state's going to take over that property. You heard the governor last month or a month and a half ago when all this was happening, how they're going to find a way to acquire the land. That's going to be one way. And now the rest of the people that don't have insurance or not enough insurance to rebuild, they're going to find a way to force them out. Because there's no way, if everybody decided to say, we don't want to build, we just want to own the land, we don't want to build, there is no way the governor and the powers that be is going to let that happen. They're not going to let it. They want that land. The next step, and pay close attention, I'm saying it here first. I would not be surprised if they claimed eminent domain just so they can take that property. Keep that in mind, people. And that's what I got for you. I'm True Outlaw Patriot. Hope you liked the video. Please comment, like, subscribe, pass it around. And like I always said, if you can help the people in Lahaina, Maui, this is not over by a long shot. They need lots and lots of help, especially financial and legal help. If you could find a way to reach out to them in a reputable way, somebody there or something that you know, whatever, stuff you could donate or give to them that is going to get to them, and not some middleman that's going to take 80% of it to pay off their staff and give the residents 20%. No, 100% should go to them. So if there's any way you guys can do it. Also, please pass my channel around. I'm trying to get the algorithm up. I'm trying to reach my 500 subscribers as soon as I can. And if you can watch my videos to the end, that will help out with the algorithm greatly. Also, if you can help and want to donate to the channel, there's a link to my Cash App and my PayPal in the description. Keep praying for these people, because they need it. They truly, truly need it. So remember, stay vigilant, keep praying, and keep praying for each other. Peace.